Hi everyone and welcome to the May edition of DroneBlocks Up in the Air. I'm your host Clinton Evans. We have a really cool episode for you this month, so let's dive on in. We're going to start with some unique uses of drones and quadruped robots. Then we're going to shine our educator spotlight on a school embracing a Go 1 in a very cool way, followed by some new curriculum that's dropped using the Go 2 simulator for real-world applications. And then we're going to have a quick look at the Crazy Fly versus the Dexy drone before diving into our May challenge. That's a lot to go over, so let's jump on in. Now, have you ever wondered what your students might do with their drone or robotic skills? Well, I've collected a couple of clips to show you some really unique uses of these drones and robot dogs. Now, besides photography, search and rescue, construction, etc., there are some creative uses that people have come up with. Now, today we're going to be looking at drones and robot dogs with fire and ice. That's right, some drones are being used to fly in really harsh conditions to knock down snow off power lines. Look at that, that's so cool. And we even have some people have attached flamethrowers to drones to clear, like to melt things off power lines or to do controlled burning. It's really cool. Now, if you're thinking about a flying flamethrower, what could go wrong? Well, what about a flamethrower with 4 legs? That's right, we also have some people that have quadruped dogs with flamethrowers. Yep, they are used to clear ice, create burning breaks, so controlled burning. They are even used for special effects. That's so cool. What an interesting way to embrace quadrupeds and robotics. And speaking of embracing quadrupeds, how cool is this school? Our educator spotlight shines a light on Dr. Brent Hollers at St. Mary's Academy in Fayette, Georgia. Now, it's really cool to read how Dr. Hollers says, I was actually fascinated by how many people of all ages are interested in Sunny, our Go 1. It has become an unofficial school mascot, participating in our school play, pep rallies, and even dancing with the dance team. Look at that, their Go 1 has a name, and the rest of the school actually thinks it's an unofficial mascot. This post is definitely worth reading, and what I thought was super cool is that Dr. Hollers actually had a custom wrap made for Sunny, so it gave Sunny their school brand look. So you can see how easy it was for Sunny to become the unofficial mascot of the school. It just goes to show you how comfortable the rest of the students are with the robot dog. I think it is so cool that students are learning to code with these dogs, programming them with Python, JavaScript, and even have the juniors do some of the block coding so that students can get familiar with these robot dogs so they might get to see some of the real world applications of these dogs. And speaking of real world applications, we've just got a new course that's come out on our curriculum. It's so cool. It follows our Go 1 simulation course. We now have a Go 2 applications simulation course. Students will learn how the Go 2 uses a LiDAR sensor to create a map of the world around it that you can interact with. And students will use this map to navigate the Go 2 through a factory, avoiding obstacles. I highly recommend you check it out because it's so cool to see a real world compared to the simulator. And speaking of comparisons, we have a really great blog post comparing our Dexy with the Crazy Fly. I also recommend that you check this out. It's a really quick read. But just to mention some highlights, we have a smaller, easier to assemble, lighter drone that does block coding, which is the Crazy Fly. And then we have a more advanced, heavier, more robust Dexy with an entire operating system, camera for object recognition, manual flight controllers, as well as block coding, Python, and ROS. It's a lot to back into a drone, so I highly recommend you have a read of this post because we've taken the challenge out of figuring out the difference. And speaking of challenge, how did you get on with last month's challenge? Did you fly directly into the clock? How quickly did you manage to hit that clock? Well, my solution, I'm just going to show you. So I have the basic takeoff and set speed to 100 centimeters and land. So what I did is we had our drone. I took our measurement tool and I dragged a point to the very front of the classroom to get a rough 1500 centimeters. I went to the navigation block and I looked for the fly XYZ block, changed that to centimeters, set fly X to 1500, and then Y is 0 because I want to fly straight into the clock. And then the elevation, I used a cool technique of using my eye, looking at real-time data and then working out the code. So I do know that it's going to be at least 500 centimeters high. That's a bare minimum, if not too much. And then what I do is I exit this measuring tool. Now looking at my altitude, which is currently 222 centimeters because I'm sitting on a desk, I hit launch simulation and I watch that altitude and I see what number it hits when it's roughly in line with the clock. And then I subtract 222 from it to get the rough number that I need to hit the clock right in the middle. Now, here we go. So it's roughly around 650. Okay, so 650 minus 222 is roughly around 400. It's 428, but I'm just going to say 430 centimeters. I'm going to reset my simulation, hit launch simulation, and now my drone should fly straight into the clock. Let's have a look. So far looking good. We're about to hit the clock. Let's see. I could adjust that to go a little bit higher, but it pretty much flew straight into the clock. Now, your challenge for June is quite simple. I want you to take the location tool, drop your drone somewhere on the floor, and I want you to create a nice flight path without going above the desks, and just fly in and out and around the desks. It's a great way to practice flying low while avoiding obstacles. So that takes us to the end of this episode. Now, if you learned something new or you enjoyed anything that you saw, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. So until next month, keep your drones in the air, your students engaged, and have fun.